Yeah, heads up on Unfriendly Intel's power-based, basically based on property owned and taxes paid in America through various holding corporations and ghost companies. What they do generally this time of year is try to facilitate tax crime. And that way they can shove the whole liability for their illegal agenda over onto the people who they help get away with, tax fraud and stuff. Basically, what the other thing they like to do is illegally empower things like the IRS. You figure all those IRS agents are under oath too. And what you got is something, it reeks of what Robert Hansen used to do when he was still at large with skirting legal due process. Basically, they know the domain because of, for various reasons. And they'll actively seek out people who are allegedly committing tax crime and then help them cover it up. So that's something you got to watch out for. And like I said, you got other people too who conform to the model of a foreign-owned company or foreign-owned property. Basically running around claiming that their stuff doesn't stink. Talking about fecal matter there. There's a couple people who fit that model too, and it comes down to not being actively involved in due process in regards to counterintelligence and counterespionage and things like that. So it's one thing you got to watch out for. But like I said, this is you see it this time of year, and when corporate taxes are due and things like that, and well, even out here in Kentucky, sales taxes are due every month on the 20th. So you see a lot of playthrough with that too. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to be empowered illegally and unconstitutionally by unfriendly intel. And for the most part, based on, personal experiences and stuff like that, they do things right here. But that's something that could change, and it's something you got to stay on top of. But, it comes down to, knowing where all the bad guys are because they help put them there to begin with. And, it still represents illegal empowerment in America. And that's how a lot of these crazy right-wing and left-wing issues that are supported by unfriendly intel for divisive purposes, that's how those issues become preeminent over other issues, because like I said, and it doesn't have to be, you don't actually have to be actively engaging in any tax-related crime in order to get sucked into this. It all comes down to hearsay. You know what I'm saying? But, you still got to separate, us from them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because basically they try to, their claims on representation based on property owned and taxes paid. That's what you have to watch out for. But knowing their issues, and they've gotten better at hiding their issues over the years, but this has pretty much been a new thing since the Soviet Union fell back in the 90s. So it's something you got to watch out for. And you figure everybody who runs their intelligence operation based on the old school Soviet model is going to do likewise. So you'll get a lot of ne'er-to-be-outdones, mostly like China. They definitely imitate. It comes down to Russia, and they're not totally culturally literate in regards to America either, but they, back in the day, they were more culturally literate in regards to how we do things here. So it's something to watch out for, and like I said, every year at tax time, it's going to happen. So, like I said, stay honest. It's always good to have a good CPA keeping you honest. And if you do your own taxes, just be honest. I mean, you can call, the various tax entities and stuff like that, and they are really good about answering questions. They just want what theirs is due, But, like I said, the other model is in regards to what unfriendly intel likes to do is they'll use religious institutions as a shield because for the most part they're tax-free. So, once they break through, that's when unfriendly intel follows up, So that's where you get all of the, these illegal fake police agendas policing religious issues, which is basically just unfriendly intel operating unconstitutionally with the hand of some religious establishment on the proverbial smoking gun for it. So that's another thing you got to watch out for too. You see a lot of that, like like faith-based means and things like that, like using the concept of like homeless shelters and recovery programs to hide terrorist training camps. That's actually happened. There's a couple that I know about up in Ohio that pretty much use that as their way of hiding their operations and stuff like that. So it comes down to you got to watch out for that kind of stuff too. But yeah, slow going on this illustration, but so just things you need to watch out for. So if you know who the bad guys are, it's easy to keep track of unfriendly intel. The problem is most people don't, and they'll be first on the scene to back you up, in an attempt to hide themselves. One of the models probably being the Seattle sleeper cell that was taken out back about 14 years ago or so. They like to stovepipe too, because they'll hide their activity by basically stovepiping it in another area or within another jurisdiction. So it makes it hard to stay on top of a lot of this stuff. But like I said, if you know what to look for, it's easy to find. Heads up though, like I said, often unfriendly intel's claims to rights to representation supersedes that of normal U.S. citizens. And like I said, that's regardless of whether you're actually involved in any alleged tax crime or not. Because you figure, under United States federal law, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. So all of the skirting of due process that you see, generally, traditionally it's been worst at the state and local levels, because people don't realize that they're being empowered by a sleeper cell that's trying to hide, I'm not going to say evil, but, we'll say nefarious and, treasonous activity, Although treason doesn't really foot the bill because you got to, it's espionage. We'll stick with that. So heads up on collusion and stuff. You don't want to get stuck into something without knowing about it. But, yep. Have a good day, and thanks for listening.